here at the big leagues. What does this kind of lead up into this season feel like for you, knowing that there's a clear path to you being in that rotation, that you're one of the guys that they're going to be counted on?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, anytime you go into the off season, finishing in the big leagues, you think, hey, it's time to win a job in spring and come into it. But I'm really looking forward to just getting all the young guys out in spring training, really creating something that we could really build on for generations to come here with all the new guys. Hopefully no one's walking on eggshells, and just excited to be with everybody again.
Michael, what is kind of the reaction for you over a winter when you hear Hiram talk about the franchise the way he has and kind of the way the path is headed? How do you take that for a guy who's at the point in your career that you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm excited. He's given us a job to do. Me and Libby talk about it all the time in the dugout during the games. We're watching. It's like, what do we want to create for next year? I was asked a question like, what does success look like for next year for the team? And I thought it was a great question because, I mean, one, you want to win as many games as you can, but I think if we can walk away from next season with a clear, defined culture and clubhouse that is opening to all the young guys, I mean, there's going to be plenty of guys making their debuts this year. If they can come in for day one and not feel uncomfortable, and the only thing that is put on them is to perform, I think that's success to me.
What do you do to be a part of that, to help set some of that culture?
Leader by example. Servant leadership is huge. Just being opening to the guys. New guys coming in, Hunter Dobbins, Richard Fitch, Dustin May. It was great meeting them last night and just being welcoming to the team. So come spring training day one, it's just, hey, good to see you again. Let's get rolling.
How many gloves are you planning to bring to spring training, and how did that positional versatility factor in?
Well, before you asked me that question, I was just planning on bringing one, but now I gotta think about it a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just obviously gonna be happy to play wherever, and whatever gets me out on the field. I'm willing to do whatever the team wants and whatever they need me to do, and kind of just put my head down. And if there's a new spot that I'm unfamiliar to, just put my head down and try to learn that too. And I'm happy to do whatever. And I love being out there regardless. So, yeah.
You want to catch some bullpens? Bring a catcher's glove?
That may be the line. I'm not sure.
Maybe don't bring one.
See the outfield work potentially is in the future for some of the right-handed bats. Is that something you've picked up on the offseason at all or tried to sharpen up with?
I've kind of thought about it a little bit. I haven't heard much of anything, like as far as them telling me anything, but definitely something to for sure think about, and in spring training, I'm sure take some fly balls. And I kind of, every time we take BP, I'm like always, eventually I might play some outfield, so I'm going to take some reps in the outfield, take them seriously. So, but I feel like a lot of people have said the transition is like pretty smooth going from infield to outfield, and of course we got John Jay, who we did some work last year during the season, which is a really big help just to learn. So,
Thomas, how much or how little have you paid attention to the fact that there are these moving pieces that still aren't really settled yet, as far as how it could ultimately impact you?
I try to kind of stay out of it and kind of just do my thing. I'm going to do what I need to do to be ready for spring training and be ready for the season, and put my best foot forward and try to produce. And, whatever happens. I feel like it's not really – I try to stay out of it. You want to be aware of what's going on, but I try to, stay out of it, leave it up to God, and I'm just going to kind of, go do my thing, do whatever I can to succeed and let the chips fall where they may.
Michael, when you were going up and down so much, we all knew what was going on, you knew what was going on, but how did you internalize that? How did you remind yourself that you were doing the right things, and if you stayed on the track that you would eventually get a job?
Yeah, I think you just said it. It's just keeping the faith that you were doing the right things. Really trying to stick to my routine. The routine is what has got me this far. It's really hard for the routine to deteriorate. Going plane ride, you're tired. You're gonna go to Memphis right after you pitch, and hey, let's get a lift in. We got to get going. Instead of some guys just, I need to take a couple days, just sit on the couch a little bit. Also, I have a great support staff. I mean, my parents are huge. They're always on the phone with me during the time, especially in the airport. My girlfriend as well. All my family. I have great teammates. We have great coaching staff in Memphis as well that just really help you. If you go up, come back down, hey, we'll get you right back up there. What do you need to be ready to go back up? Because we do not want you here for long.
Michael, how does your preparation this offseason look compared to past off seasons now that you know you have a more cemented role in the team?
It really doesn't change. I think, if you have to change something, you've been doing it wrong for a couple years now, unless like you need to make a change. But I think I've been really happy with how the last couple off seasons have gone. Getting the weight up, I'm probably around 230 right now, weighing in consistently. I always want to add velocity, just sharpening up the stuff, and just being ready for spring so I can make every start.
Thomas, what was sort of your takeaways from last season, and what is your focus going into this off season? What does that look like for you?
There was a good amount of takeaways. I think the number one thing was just kind of being comfortable and being able to just enjoy myself and not really chase results as much. I think last season I kind of was trying like so many different things to get my swing where it needed to be, or do this to get like, I need this so that I'm going to get hits today, and just try and change different things a lot. And I think the main thing is, everybody always says it, but don't change what got you here kind of thing, and like just go out there and keep doing what you did to get you here. You don't have to change just because you got to the big leagues. So I think that was a big takeaway, and then just being comfortable, just like getting a lay of the land and kind of getting a feel for how it works, how traveling works. I think that's a big thing. And then just instead of chasing different things, just being consistent and really actually trusting the process, trusting I know I want to do this with my swing, and I want to do this, and I want to look for pitches in the zone and not chase as much, and these are the things that are going to get me there, and I'm going to trust that whether I go 0 for 4 tonight or I go 3 for 4 tonight. Just kind of that sense of things is I think that's a better way to look at it.
Michael was talking about some of the stuff with the rotation, but the position player group is somehow even younger, I think, than the rotation group is at this point, and it might get younger still. How do you all kind of take up that challenge collectively, guys who, some of them have been through the system the whole time? Obviously, you came in a little later, but guys that you've come up with, how do you kind of grab that as a challenge for that group?
I think that's going to be super fun. I mean, we were just talking with like 10 guys in the lobby last night, and it's just, I feel like everybody being the same age is honestly helpful, just because we're all kind of similar stages in our life. We have a similar goal, and I think it's just, it brings us together, and that's what is going to bring us together and kind of propel us to try and be successful, just having that chemistry. And I think it's just might be even easier to build that chemistry.
Michael, for you, just like when it comes to that starting rotation group, I mean, you're obviously, one of the young guys, but kind of knows a little bit more like the lay of the land in terms of like facilities and all that. What does that kind of feel like to be in your spot?
Yeah, being a vet came quick. 91 days, now you're a vet. It's weird. It's cool. Like when we got Dobbins, when we got Fitz, we got May, I asked time for their numbers so I could reach out to them. Just like, hey, if you need anything, let me know. This is where guys normally live in spring training. This is where we normally live in St. Louis. So if you need anything, don't be afraid to text or call. But it's weird being the vet this young. I've been really not, but it's been cool.
How does data shape your style of pitching? How much are you looking for, different shapes and trying to find swing and miss and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I got so many pitches right now. It seems like I think the pitch com is going to be running out of buttons. But, it's just over the offseason, like I was saying, just refining everything. It's good to have the data there. You can't dive too deep into it because then you'll just become a slave to the game and slave to the numbers. But just making sure that stuff can be as sharp as possible so there's no time in spring training you're losing to hey, let's try this, let's try that. That was what the cutter was in 2024 coming in. Had no success that offseason, come in. Took about 3 weeks, just hey, let's try this, let's try that. And I knew I didn't really have a shot to break camp that year, but it would have been nice to kind of get it rolling early so I didn't have a slow start in 24.
Michael, having experience with ABS and having come up to the big leagues last year, how do you see the big leagues adjusting to that full time now?
It'll be different. Being in AAA for a while and seeing the ABS, I've really grown accustomed to it. It's not bad. I think I've only challenged it once, and I was super nervous. I thought I was right down the middle, and it just barely clipped. So it's a little nerve-wracking. So I'm not going to be challenging anything, I don't think. But we'll see how guys adjust. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because I've seen it work in AAA. So we'll just see how it adjusts and see how it is on national television instead of just the local MILB network.
Thomas, what's that like on the hitter side of working with the ABS and seeing it kind of make its leap to the majors?
I really like it personally. I think the consistency is very much there. I think that it gives the umpires a better idea of what the zone actually is, some pitchers might think it's small. So obviously I'm gonna, but I think
I
it.
thought I've heard some hitters think it's big.
But I like how, there's black and white now, if that makes sense. Like, this is a strike, this is a ball. And I feel like through the challenges, it gives umpires, they start to learn. That was my experience in AAA. They started to learn the zone. So then it was just like, okay, I can't argue, that's a strike. It's literally a strike, or vice versa. So.
And it doesn't take the human aspect out of the game either. You got two challenges, and if you lose them both, it's back to normal baseball. And sorry, you should have just challenged better calls. So it's nice to have a little bit of give and take, but there's still a huge human aspect to it.
With the way it's calibrated, is it still true that what you lose mostly is that fastball top of the zone? Is that a lot of what gets taken, strike the ball now, or has that changed over the last year or so?
I feel like I haven't really, because I'm kind of pitching everywhere in the zone. I've never felt I no longer have that pitch there. For other guys, it might be different, but I think it's fairly consistent.
I think so too. I felt like I would be I'd take a pitch and I'd be that's the top of the zone. That's that feels like the very top. And then that's what it would be. I felt like it was, for me, I felt like it was pretty accurate, personally. I know some people have differing opinions, but.
Michael, obviously the team's going to miss Sonny. What did his process and his influence on you as a young pitcher last year mean to you now that you're stepping into a spot where you're part of the guys that the team's leaning on?
Yeah, watching a guy like Sonny Gray go about his business is really cool. That guy he has his routine down. He could do it every day with his eyes closed. He knows where to go. He knows where to go. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. He's doing this. Stay out of the way. But that's what makes him great. And it was great seeing how he went about his business, seeing the success he has, and it makes sense why hey, gotta have a good routine in this game to be good. Definitely gonna miss him a lot, but he definitely paved the way, and he gave me great advice some days. I had some trouble in the first inning, just giving up a run here, run there in the first. I'm dude, what am I doing? He's hey, throw the first inning out in the bullpen, and it was such great advice for me. And then I was able to use that for the next starts to come. So it felt really good to have him there. Definitely be missed, but I know this is all part of the plan right now.
Kyle Leahy earlier was talking about one of the worst things for him about starting is that the day starts later and no one talks to you for 4 hours when you get to the ballpark. Is that also true for you too? Everybody's staying away from you and you're don't.
I think the guys have great feel to be hey, don't just come up and start ripping jokes and stuff. But I try to keep it loose. You just can't you can't mentally exhaust yourself locking in, listening to music for 6 hours before the game. There's still plenty of day before the 7 o'clock game happens. So maybe 2 hours before, it's okay, I'm gonna tone everybody out now. Just listen to music, do my thing. So you're not exhausting yourself before the game.
I'm guessing you guys, or both of you guys, know Quinn Matthews well from college and being with him last year. What he went through last year, what have you seen, and how Colin he'll bounce back, because he's a guy who's really hard on himself.
Yeah, he's too hard on himself sometimes. I try to just be that voice of reason for him because I don't think he's thinking logically. As smart as he is, he's oh, dude, Greevy, I suck. I'm like, Quinn, you just struck out 12 guys. He's yeah, but I walked too. I'm what? Are you kidding me? So I think this game is just, the season's so long, this game's so hard that, like, I think just giving himself some grace here and there will just help him a lot.
Do you think that would get better or worse for him if he did that in the major leagues? Like, if he struck, would he still be that hard on himself, or would he be like, man, I'm here and I'm still, having success? Like,
Yeah, if he's still like beating himself up in the major leagues, the AAA pitching coach we have in Memphis always tells the story. He's like, hey, like, you work on your stuff here because you're in the big leagues, you get whacked. You're gonna turn on ESPN, you see yourself getting whacked. Like in the minor leagues, they don't, like, you're not on ESPN getting whacked. So he'll have to either turn off the TV or start giving himself some grace.
Ollie was talking yesterday about how, as exciting as this can be with the younger guys coming up, that there are going to be some rough weeks. You mentioned kind of walking on eggshells, and how do you kind of see working through it at the major league level?
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like what we were talking about with the options, like knowing that we're sticking true to the path, and this is the path we need to take to get there. So of course there's gonna be rough times, but like it's just like going through a slump. I think, like, you can't get out of a clean inning, can't get a hit. It's like I'm not going to change anything because this is what I need to do. This is what we need to do as a team to get to the place where we need to be, what Cardinals fans expect.
Thomas, was there anything that you focused on primarily after last season, this offseason, or was it just kind of refining everything?
Definitely just kind of refining everything and just getting to work. And I mean, I try to focus on pitch selection as much as I can, which is kind of difficult, but to do it in the cage, I think serves a purpose for sure. And then obviously just how I want my swing to be. And yeah, but nothing like in particular, like really nitty gritty, nothing crazy, but yeah, just the main things, just trying to get as better every day and see what happens come season.
More selective without losing your aggression. You want to be aggressive.
That's a great question.
You want to attack, yeah.
Yeah. I've yet to find the answers to that, but I think really just like honing in and making that a priority. I think I really haven't done that as much in the past, and just making that a priority. Like, okay, I'm looking for this pitch in my zone, and that's it. I'm not going to swing at that. And I'm thinking the ABS will make that or the challenge system will make that a little easier, and just be like, this is where I'm looking, and I don't care if he throws 3 pitches on the corners. That's fine. And yeah, just that and being okay. Our hitting coach always says it: the best hitters strike out looking the most. So just like really being okay with that process, which is kind of difficult to wrap your head around sometimes, especially for me. I'm like, I want results, so, but yeah, just making that a priority, this is my zone. I'm going to swing at these pitches, and I'm not going to swing at anything else, so.